Hello, 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 hello. So, hi, mamas. Okay, so let me. Right. Hi, Sheeta. How are you, Sheeta? I don't know why when people are on, like, I change my voice. I'm not for sure why, but I do. How are you on this rainy Monday? How was your day? Hey, cousin. Let me use my regular voice. Again, I don't know why I change my voice when I think I just get so excited when you guys come on. And I'm like, hey, wait, I'm trying to accept you. Okay. I think my finger's too big to hit accept.
Can you see me? Can you hear me?
See you. I see you. Can you see
Hey,
me?
girl. Yeah, I had to switch from my laptop to my phone. So let's hope that this work out.
It will. It will. It will. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I don't have no problems. Not today. A little
A
rainy outside.
little
Just finished
rainy,
walking the
right?
dog. Girl just finished walking the dog in the rain. So
I know. We both had to just came from outside the rain. So,
yeah, picking up
but we
them
made
boys
it.
from basketball.
I know, right? Right? He almost got left. He's about to have to catch a Uber.
He's not gonna do that. You know that.
Hey,
He lives with us.
ladies, how are you? Yes,
Hey,
they,
hey,
they definitely almost caught an Uber. So, how was your Monday? How's everything going? First of all, we have not had the opportunity to go out and have one of our sit downs in a while.
Yeah, this is about to be a sit down. It's been since you did
Yeah.
the podcast. I think was the last time we went out.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. And we did it up that week.
yeah. We can't tell the people about that story. Lord mercy.
No, we're definitely not going to tell people about that story,
One
but it
day.
worked out.
It did. It did.
It
God
worked.
always works that way.
It worked out. So this tonight is really special for me, guys. I don't think you guys realize how. I know my children. I mean, all the women are special.
Oh, of
They
course.
are. They are. I've had some phenomenal women on here that was willing to share and believe in me enough to even give me the opportunity to come on here because this is not easy, as we both
Yeah.
know.
It's hard
So
getting up here and telling your truth.
it is. It
It
is.
is.
It
It
is.
is.
It's really hard, especially when a lot of times you're not even sure if you want to be truthful with yourself, let alone with however many people that get the opportunity to see the
Yeah,
videos. So
absolutely.
so let me just say this: the reason why I do this whole live women with swag is because of that.
Oh,
Yes.
really?
Yes. You don't
Okay.
remember that conversation?
So I slightly remember you reaching out to me after we did the podcast, and you were like, I want to keep people connected. And I know the amazing stuff that you've been doing with Women with Swag. You were like, how do I go about that? So I kind of gave you some different, channels that you could probably do it. And I have the other side of the table. I'm excited that not only have I seen you do it, but it's been consistent. I've been watching and tuning in as much as possible, and you've had some amazing women come on and just share, and I just see not only what it is, but I see the becoming of it. So
Right.
I'm so proud of you for stepping outside of your comfort zone.
That's
And like they say, it's like it's growing pains, right? It doesn't always feel good,
right.
but I know that you have like a burning responsibility and like desire to really get through to women, show them it is okay to share your story, it's okay to be transparent and vulnerable. And I
Yeah.
just think that you're creating such a dope space, and you are creating a space that I think you don't even know what you're doing right
I
now.
don't.
I know it's all right though. It's all right because I see it. I see it.
I don't.
I
I
see
don't.
it.
I think
I
get
see it.
so okay. And let me just say, I appreciate you. I appreciate that. I appreciate
I love
all
you.
our talks, but I
Hmm.
love and appreciate you seeing something in me that I have not yet, especially at that time and now, didn't see in myself. Like I didn't think that
Oh,
this was capable because I was like so fearful and like I can't do that. Like I don't want to sit
I
and
was like, you're
talk.
gonna be fine.
Right. You did say that. You did. So I love you for believing in me. And if it was not for you um just investing in me with that conversation, like I wouldn't have, I don't think that I would have necessarily did it. Like, and don't get me wrong, it was other people that have said it, but it was something about you saying it that
Mm.
was different.
The exchange. The
The,
exchange.
the,
That you would be different and full, and that is what life is really about. And once we get that, like that we are stronger together than apart, and like the encouragement that we give one to another, because you know that that doesn't just go one way, right? That there's
right,
been times and years that we've been talking about doing what we're actually walking in right now.
right.
That it's just I'm ecstatic for what's coming for you. And I think that you're going
And
to finish this year strong, but next year, I don't even think you're ready for what's coming. So I'll
I'm
say that now so you could go back to the video and know what's
right.
coming.
I'm
Yeah.
like, Dad, so what am I supposed to do?
I was like, girl, I don't know. Listen, I will tell you this. I've been figuring it out along the way. Like,
Yeah,
I've gotten to a place in life that I understand that there's a responsibility. And when I'm out of place, that other people don't get what they need. So
right,
I had to put myself aside, my insecurities in certain areas, my I
right,
don't feel like it sometimes, my fearfulness. I'm like, listen, fear, it could get in the car, but it can't drive. So we about to do what we do and we gonna get it done. And
we're
it's
gonna
been
box it out,
literally,
and
yes,
I'm gonna win.
we gonna work it out. Look, we've been winning. That's the thing. It's just like if you do that, you know what I mean? If you get outside of what people think, because that's a huge thing for people. Don't like to admit
That,
that, like, I don't care what people think. Yeah, you do, you know what I mean? But
right.
when you push past that and just keep on taking one step after another, you'll look back and be like, what, how I
That,
get here?
that that's crazy because earlier late last week I went through
Mm-hmm.
the same thing, just like going through the motions of life and things happening, and I see it differently now. So like now it's kind of sort of like this too shall pass, and I'm gonna be
Yeah.
okay, and I'm gonna be better coming out than I was going in. So the way that I'm viewing life, and even the women that come on, like I have them on, but they're so inspiring and uplifting for me and my spirit, and
Yeah.
well as we are for everybody else. So to be able to kind of like just sit and be able to go through life and be like, just knowing, even while knowing on your bad days,
Mm-hmm.
knowing when depression trying to hit, fears trying to hit, anxiety trying to hit, that this will not
So
be and it's not going to stay, and
yeah.
this is going to be behind me, this is going to be history one soon, and very soon, as I say, it's like
Yep.
a phenomenal thing. But I
Yep.
thank you, like I thank you so much, I love you so much, and we
Well,
have
I
like
love you
one of
too.
the best relationships ever
Yeah, I
that I
appreciate
do
you.
not take for granted. So
Mm.
let us know, Faith, Deb, Exchange. Let's tell all the women about your brand. That's
So I am the owner and the host of the Exchange Place podcast. The
Woo!
Exchange Place, woo-hoo! It's only about 9 months old, but the Exchange Place is really a place. It's a safe, vulnerable, transparent place that people come to address their unaddressed traumas and become their best selves, and really like deal with normal relational intelligence and relationships, whether it's personal relationships, whether it is business relationships, but learn to get to the core of why you have those issues. I
Mm,
think so often, and I don't want to say I think, I know so often that we have this saying that, oh, this is how I am, but we never really examine the why.
right.
So the Exchange Place is a place that people really come to examine the why. With my own testimony of just what I've gone through and what I've experienced with, I lost my sister when I was 12 years old. She died in my arms. which was crazy trauma, right?
Right.
But
Right.
growing up in a Christian household, but people that look like us. Mental health wasn't something that we talked about.
No.
So as a child, I didn't have, my parents didn't really have the skills or even the mechanisms to say, hey, this is what you do. You know what I mean? In that state. So instead, they did nothing. And I love my parents because parents can only give you, they can
What
only give
they
you what
know.
they have, right?
Right.
So I later on, it wasn't until I lost my dad in 2016 that all the loss that I had experienced, which was, oh my God, we'd be on here all night talking about the level of trauma that I've experienced in life. But all of that, the floodgates to that opened, and no longer how I functioned worked.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it was a scary thing. I think most of us kind of walk around, whether we again admit it or not, being
Right.
strong. And I'm always that I think strong is, I don't think that it's an incorrect terminology, but I think it's an incomplete one that gives you the notion that, hey, I'm strong. I kind of just got that and I tucked that away and then I kept
Right.
moving. But I was literally functioning depressed.
Right.
And
We do that all
all
the
the
time.
time.
We kind of like keep going and keep going and keep going and not taking out the time to nurture what happened. Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so then what happened is we're just creating a pile
Yep.
of hurt and pain and disappointment, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
sometimes we become that in the midst
Yeah.
of, like sometimes sometimes when we're unhappy or when we're so angry with other people, we start to reflect that energy, even though it hurts
Oh yeah.
us, but we'll reflect that on other people. So I
Oh,
get
we always become the thing. I always say we always become the person that dropped us. You know what I mean? If
right,
you leave things unaddressed, you become that unknowingly. You know what I mean? You become the pain that you thought was inflicted on you. You become that to somebody else because you don't cope
right,
with it. You don't
right,
manage, whether it's grief, whatever that, you know what I mean? Whatever
right,
that traumatic experience was, without actually addressing that and really coping with it and going through a healing process, which doesn't feel good. I know
mhm,
we in this state of, girl, we healing,
right,
but nobody really ever talks about the ugly places of healing and what that looks like, what it looks like to really take those boxes out of the closet and really
right,
dig through them and look you in the face
right, because
and
it's
really be
uncomfortable.
like,
It's and I think that that's why I love women with swag and what we
mm-hmm.
both do and so many other
Yeah,
women empowerments because it allows you to know that what you're going through is normal
it's normal.
and you're
It's
not by yourself.
that part.
You're not by yourself. And I mean that's I remember growing up, you don't understand, nobody understands. And
Yeah,
and you begin to think that you're by yourself and the devil will tell you that you are alone. And that's not so. That's
yeah,
not so. You feel like you're by yourself because the enemy is trying to make you not use your mouth and your voice
woo,
to state how
that
you're
part,
feeling.
that part.
That's why you feel alone because he's
Yeah,
telling you this. But you're not alone because if I haven't been through it, and you haven't been through it, your sister been through it, your mama didn't been through it, your cousin
yeah,
Debbie, the neighbor down the street, have been through it. So, ladies, just know that whatever you're going through, and once you speak it out of your mouth, the devil no longer has a hold over you.
yeah, yeah. Finding your voice is such a
Woo!
big thing. That's one of the things that when I really look back and I went through like this whole journey of like really looking back and taking a deep, dark look at my past, it was like the one thing that the enemy had was my voice and actually having one or thinking that it was important to anybody. So my prayer is always, it doesn't matter if it's one person that can relate. I'm just like, for the person that feels that they are overlooked,
Right.
that people don't understand, that
Yeah.
people can't relate to them and they feel like they are alone, let me be the voice. You know what I mean? Let me be the mouthpiece for that. So,
Right.
yep,
Right.
that's the exchange, girl. That's
Girl, I love it.
it.
I'm here for it. I be
I
like, what
look.
did you say? And the man on this your show is like phenomenal. I'm trying to figure out eventually how I'm gonna sneak a man and women with swag. I'm gonna figure that out. And I'm gonna come to you first because you're good
Yeah, come on, let's do
you're
it.
Yeah, for real. Like I'm sneaking through, like to a week full of men. We need to know some things.
Yeah, we did. You know what? That was one of the probably the most powerful months that we did. The Lens of a Man. So it was basically the unheard voice of a man. We did young men, old men. We did, what they want in their mates. Because I think there's such a huge gap. And again, it all for me boils down to trauma. If I'm honest, it goes back to we all have unhealed trauma that we haven't dealt with, and then we're trying to bring that together, and we a hot mess together because none of us have done the work. We have to do the work. So it was amazing to hear from men and their perspective, because so often for men we kind of put them, men don't have feelings. How we treat little girls and little boys are very different. It's like, oh, suck it up, you know what I mean? Like they don't feel, and they're human beings and they really have feelings. So to like listen, you know what I mean? And just, you know what I mean? Take in what they were saying and not even respond, but listen to understand. It was amazing. It was an amazing month. And we're going to do something special coming up in season 2. You wait.
So you don't want to tell us a little bit about?
No, it's some surprises. So season 2, so my podcast is kind of this Kaizen model. I just believe that healing is 3 parts, and then we're going to repeat it again. And Kaizen means like it's continuous growth. So I believe that we grow until we go. There shouldn't be a stop in your growth, right? So, in your healing process, you heal, you start your healing process, you evolve, you restore. But in that process, you start to look back and be like, oh, I didn't even know that was broken. Let me go back.
So now you have to fix. It's stages. And I tell people that all the time. Like today, I was speaking to my boyfriend, and I'm like, you know what? Like, you have to one thing at a time. Because once you deal with that, once you deal with that first thing, everything else, that first thing may take care of several other things, right? That's number 1. But then the next thing that's in line, number 2 on your priority list, may not seem that important. And you may have to jump to number 4 because number 1 may have taken care of number 2. So only you kind of like keep going. And it's in stages, like we want it all, and we
can't do it at all at once.
We can't.
So for the people that are listening, when I always say,
keep
talking, be patient.
Keep talking.
To be patient with yourself. And the reason that I say that is that when you're healing and that process is ongoing, we have to realize how long we've been broken in those areas, right?
Right.
So I think so often you 30, 40 years old and you're trying to fix 30, 40 years, something that has been, you know what I mean? You've been that way for that long. So it takes time. You have to give yourself time. And like what Amber just said, you have to give yourself grace and be patient with you and know that that's the process. And that was one of the reasons I really wanted to structure the podcast that way, because I feel like it's heal. And then you get to this evolving season where you feel like, okay, I have a different lens. I'm kind of moving. And then that makes you change what you've learned to application, which is restoration. So when you start all over again, let's keep on going, because there's always going to be places and spaces that we need to heal. I always say the more healed that I get, the more stuff I see and be like, ooh.
Like, fix this. I need to work on that.
I gotta work on this. I gotta work on my face. You know what I mean? So the more you learn you, and the more you get comfortable with you and comfortable, it's different for somebody else to challenge those spaces, right? It's one thing for you to really be like, oh, I don't like this about me. You know what I mean? And really want to change that.
But that takes, let me just say this. That, for me, that was big. For me, I think, so when anybody that did not know, one of the reasons, I started Women with Swag like 12 years ago. And I was getting out the shower, girl, I was butt naked. And I was just like, I don't like myself. That was like because all these years I've been hiding, right? You see me in the club, you see me, on vacation, you see me here, you see, like, I got out the shower, I was like, I don't like myself. Like, I did not like nothing about me. So if anybody out there, like 13 years ago, 14 years ago that was like, oh, I don't like Nikki, something about me. I get it. I
Yeah.
get it. Because
Yeah.
I didn't like me either.
So I had that moment, but I also had the moment that there used to be times that I would literally stand in the mirror and be like, Lord, who am I?
Yes.
Like, who am I? Like,
What is this?
what am I? You know what I mean? What
What
am
am I?
I here for? Who am I? Like, and that was
Right.
like a big question for me to answer that nobody else, no relationship, no
Could
matter
not
how
define
much
you.
you beautify yourself, no matter what mask you put on, no matter how my career was going, I was still asking myself that. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
it took my dad leaving here for me to really dig deep. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I always say, and I know this always sounds ironic to some people, but in losing my dad, I found me. Um,
Yes.
his his death gave me so much life. It gave me it forced me. I don't even want to say it forced me to really figure out who Deborah Faith Perry was. Like it forced me to look me in the face and all the mechanisms, all the masks, all the promotions, everything, you know, all the relationships that I had put in between that, whether romantically or just, you know, friendships, at that point, they were falling apart. Like what
Is
I
it
had done.
so? Let me ask you a question. Is it
Mhm.
because it's like you know? So let me just say this. I don't know. Well, I do know. So
Mhm.
like you and your dad's relationship. Is it because you no longer can could fault him, or
No,
what made?
I think my dad was which I don't think I realized at the time. He held so much weight in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that he was probably, I don't want to say the only person, but I had a level of stability while he was here that was like snatched from me when he was gone.
So
Um,
okay, so let me just because I'm just trying to figure it out.
yep.
So because he was here and because he was so relevant in your life, so and I'm asking like, so you used him as a cushion or you used him as a tool or a way not to be able to focus on yourself. So
I don't think that was it. I
uh,
think that he was just I think he was a structure in my life that once it was gone, it really allowed me to see other people in the sense of like what people, I don't want to say what they weren't doing, but that they didn't hold that level of weight. He also, his leaving here also showed me what life really looked like in death. Does that make sense?
yeah.
I had my dad 18 months, right? He died from cancer. But in those 18 months, I got to know him as a person,
And
not a
not
parent.
that. Right.
So I had, even from childhood issues that me and him had, I had the opportunity to get to know the why. I
Mm-hmm.
had the opportunity to really be able to say, man, parts of it was like, dang, I love who he was, and I would love to be like that in this area. And then it also was, I don't want to leave here like that. I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
leave here still full of potential, still never like living for everybody else and not pursuing my purpose. You know what I mean? So I think it was, I don't know. I don't want to say I don't
It
know.
was like an aha. It was just
I
like a
think it was just so many levels of it. You know what I mean? That it just it forced me to deal with my trauma that I had, and, you know, with death.
mhm.
Before, death was nothing to me. I don't want to say nothing to me. The way I handled death looked very different. People
Right.
would just be like for my dad's funeral, I planned his funeral. I wrote his obituary. I was just, you know, what people again would deem strong, like, oh, you're in rare form, but I wasn't grieving. And finally, when the reality of him not being here anymore really hit me, it was like the floodgates opened, of the 12-year-old me who had watched her sister die and blamed herself for that, all the false identities that I had attached to myself from even that experience started to pour out. Like, okay, because I couldn't save her, I had spent my life in relationships where I was saving other people at my own
Mhm.
expense. You know what I mean? It just, It was like a light came on. I wish I could tell you. It was
No,
the
I get it. I get
it
it.
was it was
Some,
the
it
scariest thing,
mhm.
the
Like,
most uncomfortable thing. But oh, I thank God for it. I just
right?
yeah,
Isn't that funny? Something that hurts so bad and was so uncomfortable we
yeah,
creates the best
yeah,
situation and circumstances in person, characters,
yeah.
all of that.
There's
So
there's
right
always purpose in
now,
your pain.
where are you in life?
Whoo, I am in the best season of my life. I thus far. And God willing, I get to see more seasons. But I'm so good. And when I say that, it's not for show. You know what I'm saying?
You are like this is
I
like even like you
child.
are so natural with like I knew like I guess the same thing like how you see me like I knew and I understand and let me just say this the day when we went to the park when I met you after work and we were in the park and we were talking
Mm-hmm,
and you were saying to me exactly telling me exactly where you were at that point in time in your life and things like that
mm-hmm.
and you were sitting there and I just listened to you and I don't remember and it was like this young lady was running by and she was looking you smack in the mouth. I could literally see it in my
I
head
know
right
what you're
now.
talking about. Mm-hmm,
And you were just talking and I knew at that particular time and I knew everything that you wanted to do because you had expressed to me what you wanted to do. And I was this is not a job. This is not
don't make
this
me
is
cry.
not something she's doing because
Mm-mm.
somebody else is doing it. No,
Nope.
this is hers.
Yeah.
Like
This is this
like
is my heart.
this is her. This is
This
her.
is yeah, this is my heart. You're gonna make me cry because I always say, even with what I'm doing, I wish it was just and I don't want to say I wish, but I know so many people kind of chase things that they think other people are doing.
Mm,
Um, and sometimes we don't know, again, that question that I was asking myself, like, who am I, right? I finally
mm,
found who I am, if that
mm.
makes sense. And
Yes.
I found me in the midst of mess. I found me cleaning up all of that mess, and I finally was like, this is me. So like the podcast is so much, I always tell everybody the podcast means so much more to me because it is my purpose, it is my
Yeah.
responsibility. This is not something that I will ever do for money. Don't get me wrong, I know that income comes with impact and
Yeah.
influence, but I really want to see people get where I am. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I know I haven't begun to really touch where I'm supposed to be, but I really want to see people heal because I know what type
What
of
it's
mess
like.
I was in, and I know how hard it is to really pick yourself up and dig yourself out of that and feeling like you don't have anybody. So I just want that place and space for people to do that. Do you know what I mean? And my tears are tears of joy. So anybody
Mm,
that is watching this, do not think that
yes.
and anybody by any means that I am crying because of anything else, but just happiness to know that I made it to this point because I
Like,
never
you
thought I would
did it.
see this point.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? I never
Like,
thought that
you did.
people would even accept me for what I wanted to do or that
Mm,
kind of thing. So I would like dumb myself down. I would put my
right.
place, my, go to the back. And I just know that I can't hide anymore because it's bigger than me. I always say that the podcast is, I always say, Amber laughs at me because I'm always like, and I tell her all the time and I tell everybody, I say we because I know this is not for me. This was a God-given vision
Yes.
and it's going to change this world. It's going to make people
Mm,
better. It's going to make people
yes.
dig into those childhood things that you covered up, that you cry at night about, that you don't
Mm,
understand. You know what I mean? Like, why can't I get over this? I'm succeeding in career. I have the husband that I wanted. I have the wife that I wanted, and it still don't feel good. You're not satisfied because you're not good. And
right.
I
Right.
promise you, like that, it is possible.
It
So
is.
where am I? I am
Mm,
in the best space that I've ever been in my life. I could not be happier with
mm,
me. And I'm still growing. This has been a year for personal development for me. So I've been trying to take as much as possible, you know what I mean? Eat as much as possible from all these mentorship groups, and just I'm a part of a healing academy, which is amazing. So anybody who listens to this, if you have a chance, Darius McClure has a healing
Yeah.
academy, which is
Drop it
amazing.
later when we get off.
Yeah, I'll
Put
drop
it.
it later.
Yeah.
I mean, I prayed for divine connections and partnerships. And when I tell you that God has been providing that, and I pray for people's hearts. I
Mm,
want people who have a heart like mine, who want to help people, not just in this for the money, not just,
right.
no, when I leave the exchange place, I understand exactly what you mean. I feel changed. I feel like I got something.
I
You know what I
do.
mean?
I do.
Yeah, I
Because
just,
I can take away from each, I can take something from each and every woman that have taken out their opportunity to come up on Women with Swag and to be
yeah.
able to be a blessing. So it's not just for them or not just for you.
Yeah,
It's for me
yeah,
too. It makes me better. And
yeah.
it allows me to know, and you as well, I know that we are doing the right things and
You're
we
doing
are
the right thing.
exactly where we are supposed to be. So, and you already know, I am super duper proud of you.
Thank
I'm
you.
super duper proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So now that we got through all of that,
And you done made me cry. If I get on another live and cry, oh my God. I'll be like, Lord, please don't let me.
it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah. It's
Child, let
my
me tell you,
heart though. I'm a crier.
it's
It's
just,
fine.
but it's good tears.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Like
It's happy tears. I
it's
didn't cry enough of them other ones.
it's like it's good tears, and I'm happy that we can share this.
Yeah,
I am
I'm happy. I'm happy
with
that I'm finally at a place to share it. You know
right,
what I mean? I
right. Let me
whew.
just say this. So recently, I was
Mhm.
speaking to a young a young lady, and she called me, and and I was trying to do what we do, be
Yeah.
inspiring, lifting, and things like that, and keep them encouraged, and things like that. And I think that I always get reminded in the midst of doing what we do best is that everybody is not going to be ready to accept what you have to say.
Mhm.
And no matter how inspiring, how encouraging, whether it's they having money issues that you could provide for them, or whether they are homeless and you try to provide a roof over their head, if somebody is not ready, they are not ready. And it was crazy because after I spoke to her, like I was like in tears
Mhm.
because again, we've been there. We've been in that dark place to whereas no matter what anybody said to
At
us
that time. Mhm.
at that particular time, that we wasn't worthy. We
Mm.
wasn't worthy enough. And we allowed that fear and the devil to come in and say, you know what? No, like I'm not. I'm not. Like almost like you're so scared to tell your truth.
Yeah.
Because for whatever reason, we feel like we should always be where we need to be.
You know what I learned in that situation, and I don't want to cut you off.
Mm-hmm.
That I think my perspective on that has changed a little bit. Um, what I so giving what you're supposed to give is your responsibility, and I think I used to get frustrated in that because you see something in someone that they don't see
Right.
in themselves yet,
Right.
that they haven't gotten to the place of worthiness. But thank God for the seed. I I always say that, you have to know your position in those
Yes.
encounters, because for some people your words are just going to be seed, and it
Mm,
may be something 20 years from now, but
right.
they will remember that word.
Right.
There's stuff that I can go back in my own life and say, dang, that's what that person meant when they were saying that.
Right. Right.
That's what, you know what I mean? That's what they were
Right.
hitting, that I wasn't at a level of maturity to receive it,
Right.
but it was still seed. So don't take for granted the seed that you're planting in people in that avenue, because I feel like there are going to be people that some are meant,
Right.
to plant seeds, some to water. You know what I mean? And God will give the increase. You just got to be like, who am I, Lord? That's where I
right,
am now. I just be like,
right,
I want to give it to you. I'm going to give it to you. But
right,
you have to, it may not end up being, I'm not supposed to water that seed. Somebody else may be
right,
the
right,
person to water it. You just supposed to plant the seed. And
right.
you always
Yeah,
doing that. Yeah.
right, right.
I'm
And
not.
I don't know why this particular young lady, it was so like I was just like, no. Like,
Yeah.
no, be okay when everything is not in order in your life. But you know that it needs to be in order. And you
Yeah.
have the will, and God gave you the opportunity to wake up, to put, to put things in place.
Yeah.
And and I think I just wanted her at that particular time to know you're not okay, but you're okay.
Yeah. I
Because you
get it.
have the opportunity to get it right. And things don't always have to be in place. All your
Yeah.
T's don't have to be crossed and your I's have to be dotted. Because God
Yeah.
has more for you to see. And I promise you, when I got off the phone, I was just like, and maybe I was
You
going through
felt
my
a little
own
sad.
little my own little roller coaster because again, we've been there. So it's like,
Mhm.
no, 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 don't do that. Like, no, 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 you're right where
Everybody
you're
not
supposed to
ready.
be. And they're not ready.
They're not
And they're
ready.
not ready. And it I was at work, it hurt my heart. It hurt my heart. So y'all stop hurting my heart. No.
They'll give it. They'll get it. Some people you just got to give up to God. And
Yeah.
I had to learn that the hard way because I used to take people like under, you know what I mean, and take responsibility for them.
And
But
that
it's
was, and
like,
I don't mean to cut you off. One thing
yeah,
that I did, you are, was, is, so she, okay, so Deb is very nurturing.
I am.
Very, like,
It's a
very,
blessing and a curse sometimes.
it
I'm
is,
working on
like,
it. Boundaries.
very, very, and sometimes I would see you going through different relationships, and it was like, and this is why I knew that, this is why I know that I know that I know that what you do is for you, because she will always want to get down to the nitty gritty of why, of why X, Y, and Z was happening. We would talk about things for hours trying to figure out, and sometimes I'm not even for sure we figured it out, but we,
I need the why. I need see what we don't realize, and I used to think that was because I'm analytical. I used to think it was a bad thing, and now I just realize it's really getting to the roots. Like sometimes we see the symptoms, you know what I mean? We see insecurity, but we don't know where it came from. You know what I mean? We see people who are nasty, and we don't know the root, right?
right, and the
We
first thing
seeing
that
the
we do
fruit.
is get nastier.
Yeah, we seeing the fruit of that. So when things happen, I'm definitely very self-aware.
Right.
I pride myself in self-awareness, but getting to the root of what is really causing that is always my thing. That's why
It,
in relationships, I'm
it,
always like, me and you'll be like, we'll be going back and forth. I'm like, listen, because I want to understand people.
right,
And sometimes again, it's a blessing and a curse because I do want to understand where people are.
right.
If you don't know where people are, you don't know how to help them get to where they're
Where the need.
going. You know what I mean? It's like GPS. It's like your location is. So I want to know most of the time where people are so I know
Right.
how to assist. You know what I mean? I know how to give a word. I know how to point you in the right direction. So I'm always trying to figure
Yeah,
out this
I knew.
thing, girl. You
So this
know,
this exchange is like, I'm telling you, like this is,
be like,
it's you,
why?
right? Yeah, Deb is always like, so why, and why do you think, and why do you, I'm like, Deb, I don't know. I don't know, but I love it. So that's why I was like, exchange is exactly what you will need. So
Yeah.
coming up, I know you already mentioned in the very beginning, you have some exciting things for us to look
Yeah.
forward
So
to.
season two is going to be a little bit different than how we facilitated season one. So season one was the healing season, and this season will be the evolve season. So we will have, of course, in-house interviews, but I have been meeting so many dynamic people
Mm,
outside of the U.S., outside of Jersey, of course,
wow.
that I want to bring those people to you, and they are powerhouses. So there will also be an additional 4 episodes every month that is like a global exchange with people outside of New Jersey, and just things that I think people's testimonies. It's like giving people someone to relate to. I don't have experience in everything, but God has been connecting me to people who do have experiences in areas that I wanted
I
to
tell
talk
people all the time,
about.
I am not a therapist. I am not.
Yet, yet,
Yes,
yet,
Like
yet,
yeah, you're right. Yeah.
yet.
I said I am not there, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna work through this, and we're gonna get to the root of things,
Yeah, get to the
So,
root.
but and you're right. God will bring people in your life to connect you to whomever it is that you need to in order to get to that next level. So,
Listen, he been
like,
like throwing them my way. I just been like, okay, God, okay. Listen, I'm excited. I'm excited for this season. I'm excited to evolve, and there'll be some new things, some other surprises that's coming up. So it's gonna be good. Some merchandise, it's gonna be some good stuff coming in season 2.
okay, so let me ask you another question. I know I'm asking you a lot of
What's
questions.
up? Yeah, we talk all this regular.
Right. So you have a phenomenal relationship with God. Like I love your relationship with God. Like, and one thing about us when we speak in reference to not religion, but our relationship with
That's
God,
my homie.
right?
That's my
And
homie.
you and I could go for hours about what we have been through, what he has done, what he is doing, and what God will do.
Mm-hmm.
So when did that relationship, not you going to church,
Mm.
but when do you feel like it was like when your dad passed, it was like aha for you? When did
Yeah.
that start, like, that start for you?
So my relationship with God started. It's so funny because I literally have a mark in the sand of like that. Of course, I grew up in church and went to church my whole life, and
Right.
knew the Lord through my mom, thank God. But my real relationship with God started. I used to attend Christian Love Baptist Church,
Mm-hmm.
where rest in peace, Pastor Ron Christian. When I was there, I don't know, there was just a transformation. There was a different hunger that I had for God, that I just had this desire. Like I just couldn't, I would get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and go to church and just
Mm-hmm.
be on the altar. I just had uh, a different burning desire to really know him for myself. Like he was always there. Of course, God is always there, right? Protecting me and, you know what I mean? Providing for me. But that space and place was just a different one. I think it was so much going on in my life at that time. My life was literally upside down. My youngest son was probably a baby at that time. There was a whole lot of dynamics attached to that. And I also had my oldest son at the time, who was probably about 4 or 5 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And the pressures of the world, God has a way of getting your attention. I always say, it is not always how you thought it would be, but there was a different desire to read the word. There was a different desire to pray. We used to have some at Christian Love called God Chasers at 5 in the morning, and I was faithfully there,
Mm-hmm.
just laying on the altar. There was I don't know, this burning desire. Like I would literally take off work. This is probably gonna sound crazy, to go lay on the altar at Christian Love. Like I would just want to be, and not that God is, not, omniscient and everywhere, but that there was just something about that place and space and the teaching that I was getting. And I don't know, it was a transformation for me that literally changed the trajectory of my life. At that time, I was in ministry, MIT, and just, it was just a different calling that I always knew existed, but I feel like I felt like I couldn't run anymore. I don't know, there was nowhere else to go. And I felt like I could only, like, there was no person,
Mm-hmm.
place or thing that could fulfill that space. And girl, I went in. I went
Mm-hmm.
all the way
I
in and
think
haven't
that
looked back.
for me, and I'm about to tell my business, y'all, and y'all better not
Yep.
judge me either.
Tell your
Okay.
business.
So like, I think for me, to be honest, this is my first time really talking about this part, because I always ask the questions. But, and I'm bringing this up only because, you know, when you just made the comment of, like, you know, just laying at the altar and things like that. So, right before I was pregnant, I got pregnant with my youngest son. I was pregnant. I ended up getting pregnant, and I didn't keep the baby.
Okay.
And when I tell you, it felt like even, you know, it wasn't abortion, but it was like, it was hard. Like, it
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
I like I felt like I was dead. Like, I felt like, and I just remember, like, on my knees in a corner in a basement, just crying, like, Lord, forgive me, forgive me, forgive. Now, I always knew, let me tell you something. Okay. I can sing, but I can't sing. Some people say I can't sing, but I feel like I can sing.
You can sing. You can sing. You can sing.
Thank you. And, like, I always see myself in a choir. I've always seen myself, like, being that church girl, right? But I did not know that it was a difference with having a relationship with God, and then the church, the religion part of it.
Yeah.
And I literally remember, could you get your dog? So I literally remember just begging, like, begging, because, again, you don't feel like people will understand, because that guilt was there. You didn't want anybody to know, because you know, being so ashamed,
You
and
felt ashamed. Yeah.
right, and being judged and not heard. And then I ended up getting sick. Some other stuff happened, so I had to end up telling my mother. But I think that's when the first time I really, really called on God.
Oh God.
Like that. That's when it was like I hurt you. Like, I hurt him. I felt like I hurt him. I felt like I disappointed him, and all I wanted was his forgiveness. So that's when I was like, Lord, help me, you know.
They always say that relationship comes at a time that your back is up against the wall, like, or if you feel some level, like my back, I think at that period of time, like you said, it probably in a different manner, my back was up against the wall. And I don't know why none of, you know how, like, what you depend on at certain times are like people or things, like none of that was fulfilling at that time. And there was just this urge to, like,
to
get
scream,
right
to, like,
and get closer. And, like, I wanted to know more about him. I felt like even growing up the way that I had grown up, and knowing, you know, you can know church, you know what I mean? People can go to church and, you know, when to stand and when to sit and what to do and all that. But really having relationship outside of that. And I had seen my mom my whole entire life, who had a strong, probably the strongest prayer life that I know of, because I got to be in the house with her. You know, my mom had prayer time, which I didn't even know what that was. I was like, you know, my friends over, I was like, my mom gonna go in the room and she gonna be a little loud, but, you know, just don't worry about that, right? But I didn't have
but you covered though.
You covered. I knew I was blessed and I knew things were covered, but I didn't really understand that. But when you experience, when life keep lifing, right? When you really get into hard places and you experience life, that was where I fell back into, you know what I mean? And it was just I think it was one of the hardest times in my life around that time. And I thank God, like I said, rest in peace to Ron Christian, because he was literally somebody who walked me through that period of time. And whether he knew it all the time or not, just guided me through that place and space of, like, not even what to do, but just providing a place for that. Like Christian Love was that place for me. It was literally a place that was
You
safe,
needed that right
and
time,
I
that
needed
right
that. And I
in your
haven't
life.
in a
Mm,
good way. I
yeah,
haven't been the same since. Like I
right,
really, that was like the trajectory, like boom to this
right.
way. And I just, that relationship and prayer is so important to me. You know what I mean? It's like, who would I be and where would I be without God? I just don't
Yeah,
even, I can't imagine. I know that I wouldn't be here. I
right,
can tell you that. I know that I wouldn't be here. So that is when relationship for me happened, and not just religion, not just, you know what I mean, church as
right,
usual. But
right.
like what happens, not, Sunday is when we, okay, fellowship, but what happens Monday through Saturday is really what matters. You know what I mean? And I know a Monday through Saturday God,
Right,
not
right,
just a Sunday
right,
one,
right,
right?
right,
So
right.
yeah, yeah.
Right, because we do that.
Yeah,
We tend to do that,
yeah.
because we get into a routine. So we go from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Keep going. Sunday come we in church, and then we coming out of church. We're doing the same thing over
Same
and
thing
over.
when we get in the car.
Yeah, before we get on the way to the car,
Yeah.
so as the pastor open the doors, we're doing, and it's important to begin to use those tools, like when a pastor's talking, or not even the pastor, well, not just the pastor, a pastor or a friend or your parents or whatever. Use those tools,
Yeah.
you know, and I know and I understand that it's hard. It's not easy. It's never easy. But
Nothing
no,
worth having is easy.
no,
I
use those
want everybody
tools.
to get that. Like nothing worth having is ever going to be easy,
No,
but it is possible.
it is possible.
It's possible.
And and if you want it, and you continuously keep God the head, regardless when you having your good days or your bad days, like it's all going to work out for the good. It's going to
Yeah,
work out for this.
always does.
You and I are not the only ones that's on here that's been through a situation and God got outside of it.
Yeah.
And then we got through another situation, and he got out of that, got us out of that too.
Yeah,
And sometimes when we go through the third situation, we forget the first and second time.
that
You
part.
know, and sometimes or all the time, we need not to forget about those first and second times. Because he's going to also get you out the third time. So
Yeah.
those things are really, really, really important. So, so if we really knew Dad, what would we know?
What would we know if you really knew me? Whew. How long I got?
Yeah, we got all night.
No. If you really knew me, you would know that it is my heart and life's purpose to help people. That even though I've been broken and scarred, I literally, and I posted this the other day, I show my scars so other people know that it's possible to heal. And I want to see people healed. I want to see people better. And there's a better you that you haven't met yet.
Yes, yes.
And like, I even tell myself that every day. There's a better, even where I am now and how far I've come, I know that there's more. So I think if you knew me, you would know. If you really knew me, you would know my heart, um, more than anything. And that you would know that going forward, I'm going to be helping as many people as possible change their life
Yes, yes.
and heal and go through this healing journey. I'm going to be there in whatever form and capacity God allows me to, and
Mm.
whatever platform He continues to give me in that. So that's what you would know. You will know my heart. My heart is what I want to be most remembered for, what I want people to know when they see me. I never want people to outer appearance. I never want it to be about what I have. I always want it to be about my heart and what I've done for other people.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I can vouch for that because I had
Yeah.
the opportunity to know your heart, and I know
Yeah. That's
you
who I
are
am.
genuine. Like
Yes.
you don't. She has never asked me for anything, you know. Like you're one of those people, like if we go out and we do something, like I don't have to worry about you expecting anything back, but you're going to receive something back, but you don't do it because you're expecting something.
Nope.
And I love you for that. I love you for that.
I love
So
you too.
right now,
What's
this
that?
is my last question, and I'm gonna let you.
Oh
Okay, because
Lord.
I'm
This
still
gonna be a
wet and
doozy.
all.
I feel like it's gonna be a lot. What's that?
It's not gonna be a lot.
Okay.
So right now in this season of healing,
Mm-hmm.
what artists or song do you listen to, or are you listening to get you through your situation?
Ooh, so Pastor Mike, Bigger. I don't know if you've ever heard that, but if y'all
What
haven't, y'all go tap into that.
it's
Um,
big high go. Because
no,
you
we
can
ain't
sing
sing.
like me.
No,
Look
we're
at
not
it.
singing on this live tonight. That was
Okay, you
part
can
of.
hum. You can hum. You can
Yeah,
hum.
I'm a put it in the chat for everybody.
She's a good
There,
hummer.
yeah. I sing a little bit. I sing a little bit. Um, there is a manifestation chant, and I have to drop it in the chat that I'm stuck on, that I literally listen to probably every day. What else do I listen to right now? I listen to I don't have no, but definitely Bigger, or Big. I think it might be just called Big,
Mhm.
the actual song. And then that manifestation chant, which I'm gonna think of who that guy is.
Just drop it down
I'm
below.
gonna drop it
So
down below for
those
y'all,
songs
because
can uplift, inspire the
that
rest
song
of us.
is, yes. I will drop it.
The
I
rest.
promise y'all. I'll drop it in the chat for y'all. But those are two of my songs that I listen to probably every day.
Right,
Probably
right,
every
right,
day.
right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Well, let me tell you, I love you. I love everything that you stand for. I see you.
I see you too,
I see you. I see
girl.
your
I love you.
light. I see the joy that you bring in other people and myself. Like I see and I understand. And I love you. I love you for taking up the time. I love you for loving me enough to give me this vision and for me to be able to accept and make it happen. So I love you. And I don't know if you guys heard, but if it was not for her, I wouldn't be here tonight. I wouldn't be on here
You
doing live. I was so nervous
see,
and so sick.
see,
You definitely planted this. You
see,
planted,
see.
watered.
See, and you look, and God gave you the increase. So I let me just say, I was honored to come on. I'm glad that you asked me to come on, and that we were able to exchange. You come on a show before, and I plan on having you on, down the line. We won't share with the people that, but I am grateful for this platform. I'm glad that you stepped out, and like once
Yes,
you step out, like once you take, faith without works is dead. So once you
yes.
move in faith, you see what's happening and what's going to happen. I see, you don't see it yet, but probably, but I see it. So I know what's coming. And I'm proud of you for taking that step, because I remember you were like, I don't like to be on lives. I was like, I don't like to
Yeah,
be on
like
lives
I don't
either.
like to be on live. I'm like I don't
Yeah,
like
I
to.
don't either. I
I'm
don't
like
either.
low key.
Yeah, I get it. But it's time for you to get in the front of, you can't hide
It
anymore.
is.
And there's
I,
people waiting for what you're doing in this place and space. There are people praying for what you're giving. You know what I mean? And you always just have to be so mindful of that. And I know that there are so many people. I'm going to be one of the little people that had graced this place, but there are so many people coming to this place. I think I lost you. You got
oh, okay, there you go.
I got
We're
you.
good.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I thank
So
you. I
I
thank
thank
you.
you, and
I
I'm
thank
looking forward
you
to
for
more.
everybody that joined
Hey
in. This was hi y'all. This was
y'all.
like phenomenal. Like this was like the best for me.
Let's
The
do
best
more.
if
Let's
it
do
wasn't for you.
more.
So
We got some stuff
I
coming
love
up
you.
together. I love
Yes.
you.
I love you. Guys, enjoy the rest of your Monday.
Happy
And
Monday,
I
y'all.
hope you guys enjoyed us.
All right.
Because I
See you
enjoyed you.
later.
All right.
All right. Bye, babes.